Officials say they have dismantled a drug trafficking organization that was putting hundreds of pounds of meth onto the streets. The Montgomery County DA, Delaware County DA, federal investigators, and more all came together to announce the seizure of guns and drugs that they say are coming up from Mexico. People have been arrested, 5 people, that is, in connection to the organization. Investigators say one of the men charged shipped packages of methamphetamine to the other 4 through the U.S. Postal Service, FedEx, and UPS.
Pop my the hit licked and I made the news. Cashed out on the Airbnb just to hide them too.
This might go down as one of the biggest meth indictments in the city's history. And it all started with someone getting grabbed up Lower Marion for a small-scale trap. An individual ended up selling to an undercover cop. That individual sang like Whitney Houston and brought down 5 more people to save himself. This seems like something out of a movie, but what most movies get right is that when the feds have their targets in sight, it's pretty much good night. Trials are rare in the federal criminal justice system, and acquittals are even rarer. Nearly 80,000 people were defendants in federal criminal cases in fiscal year 2018, but just 2% of them went to trial. The overwhelming majority, 90%, pled guilty instead, while the remaining 8% had their cases dismissed. According to a Pew Research Center analysis, Chase Smith, the aforementioned snitch, was arrested in March of 2021 for delivering multiple pounds of methamphetamine to an undercover Montgomery County detective in Lower Marion. The arrest of Chase Smith led investigators to the realization that Smith is a member of a large-scale meth drug ring that supplies Montgomery County and the surrounding areas. However, their reach goes further to include New Jersey, Maryland, and West Virginia. Chase Smith spent the next year helping the authorities build a case. The 596-page indictment filed in March of 2022 revealed that Joshua Quiles, along with Tyrone Baker, Jameer Winans, Shaquem Johnson, and others connected to this operation were acquiring large quantities of meth for distribution. The methamphetamine is being shipped from their main plug, Ricky Evans, in Los Angeles. This investigation would include physical surveillance, search warrants, and court orders, including for phone records, pen registers, and GPS pings, and assistance from other law enforcement agencies, including the United States Postal Service and Homeland Security. There has been an increase in the availability of methamphetamine over the last several years. The supply of methamphetamine has risen so greatly with the demand that a pound of the drug went from approximately 20 to 25,000 in 2015 to approximately 4,000 in the beginning of 2021 in Philadelphia and Montgomery County. Since then, methamphetamine has become increasingly more available, which has caused the price to decrease even more. According to the U.S. Customs and Borders Protection, from 2010 to 2020, there has been a significant increase in the amount of methamphetamine seized by the U.S. Customs and Borders Protection. By U.S. CBP, from 8,900 pounds in 2010 to approximately 157,000 pounds in 2020. These numbers can be attributed to the Mexican cartels and their establishment of so-called super labs located in Mexico. These, quote, super labs produce hundreds of pounds of methamphetamine daily with materials and products purchased directly from China and other sources in Asia. The methamphetamine is then smuggled across the southwest border from Mexico into the United States through various methods, including, but not limited to, individual migrants, passenger and commercial vehicles with hidden compartments, shipping containers, aircrafts, drones, and underground tunnels. As the United States continues to grapple with an opioid epidemic, Mexican drug cartels have been expanding their meth production on an industrial scale, flooding the market with relatively pure and cheap methamphetamine. A sharp increase in drug overdoses has been seen in the last 5 years. This particular drug ring utilizes multiple communication platforms to facilitate their drug trafficking enterprise, including Instagram, direct messenger, FaceTime, and traditionally through their cell phones. The local police became suspicious of Chase Smith because he was out in Montgomery County making noise. He violated the rule of not being too flashy when you run into a lot of money at once. It's a tale as old as drug dealing. Flashy cars and condos always attract the wrong kind of attention. Chase Smith had a luxury apartment, and he drew a lot of attention, which led local authorities to begin surveilling him and getting the Postal Inspection Unit and eventually Homeland Security involved. It doesn't say which one, but one of the agencies had an undercover officer buy meth from him. With his arrest, he began talking, which put them on to Tyrone Baker and Jameer Winans, or Mir. In a post-arrest interview, Chase Smith identified Tyrone Baker as his source of meth and stated that Joshua Quiles of King of Prussia is the leader of the organization. Authorities let Chase Smith remain in contact with Tyrone Baker while he was incarcerated. Jameer Winans, or Mir, was out King of Prussia doing his thing. He played a lot of middleman roles in this indictment. During a parallel investigation, the United States Postal inspectors seized approximately 20 pounds of methamphetamine shipped from California to addresses associated with Winans and Baker in the Philadelphia area. The activity through the Postal Service is what got most of this investigation's attention and would lead to the group's downfall. On November 30th, 2020, postal inspectors in Los Angeles, California identified a priority mail express parcel addressed to Ricky Evans with the address of Brookshire Avenue, Unit 2, Downey, California. The parcel was mailed from Philadelphia and had a return address of John Colbatch, 13 Melrose Avenue, Lansdowne, PA. The return address of 13 Melrose Avenue in Lansdowne is not an exact match of Tyrone Baker's address, but nearby 57 Melrose Ave is where he is associated, based on their criminal indicators related to their ongoing investigation and a positive canine alert. Postal inspectors opened the parcel, which contained $21,000 in U.S. currency. The currency was concealed in vacuum-sealed plastic bags and hidden in the cardboard packaging of a toy truck. On January 12, 2021, postal inspectors in Los Angeles identified a priority mail express parcel addressed to Brookshire Avenue apartment in Downey, California. The parcel was mailed from Philadelphia and had a return address of Franklin Scurry, 48 Melrose Avenue in Lansdowne. Investigators knew that Franklin Scurry resides at 57 Melrose. That is the address on his Pennsylvania driver's license, and he is believed to be the half-brother of Tyrone Baker. Based on the criminal indicators related to their ongoing investigation and a positive canine alert, the parcel was opened and found to contain $10,000. The currency was concealed in plastic bags and hidden inside a plastic Tonka toy. On March 11, 2021, postal inspectors intercepted a parcel after multiple indicators like the ones before were observed. The parcel was mailed from Downey, California on March 10, 2021. It was addressed to Camino Payton on 51 Melrose Avenue in East Lansdowne and had a return address to Brookshire Avenue in Downey, California. Both addresses have been used during previous methamphetamine shipments between Ricky Evans and Tyrone Baker. Located inside the parcel was approximately 2 pounds of methamphetamine. A Los Angeles Division postal inspector obtained video surveillance from the Downey, California post office. The video showed a black male, a Hispanic male, and a white male paying for and mailing the packages during a 1-week span from March 18th to March 25th, 2021. The black male in the surveillance tapes was identified as Ricky Evans. The U.S. Postal Service intercepted a package inbound from LA to the Philadelphia area on March 26th. Then, on March 31st, another package that was intercepted was opened and investigators found 3 pounds of meth in each package. We are going through all these dates to show just how busy these guys were and just how much they were moving. There were so many packages being shipped that it would be tedious to go through each and every one. From October 2019 through December 20th, 2021, 91 packages were marked by the investigation as matching their criteria for drug packages. Of those 91 packages, 15 were actually seized and used as evidence. 12 were methamphetamine seizures, and the rest was money as well as oxycodone pills. With what the feds felt was insurmountable evidence, they went ahead and got a wiretap for the cell phones and social media accounts of the crew. From January 27th to February 15th, 2022, wiretaps were ordered for the organization's phone, as well as some members' Instagram account. On February 6, 2022, Baker was picked up at Los Angeles International Airport by Ricky Evans. A review of the GPS pings associated with Baker's phone showed that Baker's phone traveled from Los Angeles International Airport towards West 67th Street in Los Angeles. This address is known to be associated with Ricky Evans, according to the affidavit. Ultimately, Baker's phone pinged off a cell tower in the immediate vicinity of West 67th Street in Los Angeles for 7 hours. Again, if we got into every piece of evidence they got from these wiretaps, it would take too long. So to condense it for y'all, we'll stick to the most relevant ones. We spoke about the trip to Cali by Baker in the beginning of February, which lasted from the 6th to the 9th. All of this was captured by surveillance. wiretaps, and cell phone triangulation. The investigators had photos taken of Baker getting a package shortly after the UPS driver delivered it. The second package they surveilled Baker getting was on February 26th. On February 26th, while under manual surveillance, Tyrone Baker is seen parking near his house. Him and another male identified as Daniel Allen get out and grab a UPS package from the trunk and go inside. 1 minute later, Daniel Allen's IG account posts a video of him opening that very package. As for Jameer Winans and the evidence against him, they caught his first delivery on February 15, 2022. They would go on to track 5 of these shipments to Jameer, one of which was stolen by a porch pirate. This particular package that was stolen was intentionally sent to an apartment complex that was not associated with anyone they knew. However, when the package was stolen, it emboldened Jameer to call the apartment complex asking questions about it. Remember, his phone is tapped at this point, and the feds can hear every call that's made through these phones. Investigators learned that the package that was stolen contained 10 pounds of meth. Joshua Quiles, who was also being surveilled, was observed on several occasions picking up deliveries and putting them in his trunk. They also had CashApp receipts of transactions between him and Evans for a pound of methamphetamine. Quiles was charged around $1,250. Poppy Bull, aka Shaquem Johnson, was also caught up in this when he bought a pound on February 23, 2022. This case has so much evidence that it took us a few days to read the whole indictment. They followed them everywhere and had so much surveillance that it would be the case of the century if they ended up beating the charges. Every phone call, every text message, every Instagram post, DM, every drop-off, and every shipment was recorded as evidence for almost 2 years. The more evidence they gathered, the more the judges would grant the task force with more surveillance warrants. Between March 2021 and March 2022, Bakers, Quiles, Winans, and Johnson, through CashApp, sent more than $86,000 to Evans in California for the methamphetamine. According to investigators, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service and Homeland Security investigation also determined that the organization shipped 91 packages between October 2019 and December 2021, as I said earlier. Police seized 15 of those packages, which contained around 60 pounds of methamphetamine in all. Investigators said that in all, the organization trafficked more than 800 pounds of methamphetamine, as well as fentanyl, oxycodone, and marijuana in the Southeast Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and West Virginia. According to police, ultimately they seized 83 pounds of crystal meth with a street value of between $2.6 and $3.7 million. 200 baggies of fentanyl, 100 oxycodone pills, 17 handguns, 8 long guns, including 1 ghost gun, and 4 that were stolen, a ballistics vest, and approximately $135,000 in cash. Baker, Johnson, Winans, and Evans were each charged with more than 100 felony counts of a corrupt organization conspiracy, possession with intent to deliver, dealing in the proceeds of unlawful activities, and criminal use of a communications facility.
Millions of dollars worth of drugs and more than 24 weapons were seized during a multi-agency operation spanning from the Philadelphia region to Los Angeles, California. Action News reporter Jacqueline Lee is live outside of the district attorney's office in Norristown with the full story tonight. Jacqueline.
That's right, Rick. Officials say this is a huge deal because the area is seeing a rise in methamphetamine use. They say the drug is cheap and it is killing people. You're looking at 83 pounds of methamphetamine worth between $2.6 and $3.7 million, 200 bags of fentanyl, and 25 firearms. A takedown of what officials are calling one of the most significant methamphetamine trafficking organizations ever apprehended.
This drug trafficking organization is believed to have been responsible for illegally trafficking more than 800 pounds of methamphetamine. That's since 2019.
Authorities arrested the organization's alleged 5 leaders, 29-year-old Tyrone Baker of East Lansdowne, 27-year-old Shaquem Johnson of Philadelphia, 31-year-old Joshua Quiles of King of Prussia, 21-year-old Jameer Winans of Exton, and 28-year-old Ricky Evans of Los Angeles. It all unraveled after 29-year-old Chase Smith of Upper Darby allegedly sold more than 2 pounds of methamphetamine to an undercover officer in Lower Merion Township.
This intensive investigation revealed that Baker, Quiles, Winans, Johnson, and others connected to their drug trafficking organization were acquiring large amounts of methamphetamine from a supplier, Ricky Evans, in Los Angeles, who was obtaining this meth from Mexico.
The investigation spanned a year and involved multiple law enforcement agencies like Homeland Security and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Officials say this takedown will save lives.
What you see before you is poison that has been killing people throughout our region and weapons of war that are used to protect this criminal enterprise.
The four buyers, Bakers, Winans, Johnson, and Quiles, were all arraigned on March 16, 2022. Baker and Winans' bail amounts were set at $3 million each, while Johnson and Quiles' amounts were set at $1 million cash each. Evans was extradited from California and arrived in Montgomery County on April 3, 2022. He was arraigned with bail set at $3 million. All pled guilty as the evidence was undeniable. Tyrone Baker and Jameer Winans were given 7 to 14 years after pleading guilty to running a corrupt organization and possessing with intent to deliver meth. Shaquem Johnson, or Poppy Bull, was sentenced in Montgomery County to 2 to 4 years in a state correctional facility. Joshua Quiles admitted to possessing over 1,000 grams of methamphetamine and was sentenced to 4 to 8 years in February of this year. The man who police said was the supplier for a massive, deeply complex crystal methamphetamine drug ring, Ricky Evans of Los Angeles, will spend the next 8.5 to 17 years behind bars. This is a testament to what the illusion of fast money produces. When it's all said and done, these are relatively light sentences. But no amount of money is worth your freedom, no matter how much of it you have. Once you've had your fun and your run is over, you have to stand on the decisions you make. Decisions like this will cost you time, which is ultimately more important than money, in my opinion. Now, all they have is time. With everything being seized and all the money being gone, this is also a reminder that no matter how good things look on Instagram, all that glitters isn't gold. You just never know what someone has going on behind those flashy posts. The whole gang got indicted because someone told. Zachary Smith, the older brother of the person who initially told, Chase Smith, was sentenced in the Montgomery County Court to 3.5 to 7 years in a state correctional facility after he pleaded guilty to charges of corrupt organization, possession with the intent to deliver marijuana, dealing in the proceeds of unlawful activity, and endangering the welfare of a child. I'm gonna leave it there for now. Thanks for watching American Confidential, and until next time, be safe.